Hey guys, I'm Blake Jacobs, a freshman at GVSU, here to show you guys how to make the Japanese dish known as onigiri. Onigiri can be translated to rice balls in English, which is generally what they are, but onigiri are balls of rice with a filling of some sort, wrapped in nori, which is seaweed. Onigiri come in many different shapes and sizes, and there are countless fillings and styles that you can make onigiri in. These are delicious snacks that are good hot or cold and can be had at any time of the day. Today, I'm going to demonstrate how I make onigiri I eat on a regular basis. I do not follow any recipes or cookbooks, so this recipe can be considered original. Here are the needed ingredients. You're going to want white rice, sushi rice preferred, chopped or diced pork, Korean barbecue sauce and sriracha, seaweed, and soy sauce. I also threw in an optional seaweed seasoning. It's kind of like, the everything bagel seasoning is kind of like that, but a lot more seafood based, I guess you could say. The needed equipment is a rice cooker, which is kind of optional. I guess you can boil your rice, but I don't recommend it. A small frying pan and a heat source, of course. The onigiri press I have, optional, but highly recommended. A rice paddle, optional, highly recommended. You can use like a spoon, I suppose. And then some clear wrap or saran wrap, same thing. Let's get into how to make your onigiri. All right, first you wanna get your rice cooker, right here. Grab this pot and add about 3 cups of rice to it. All right, I don't know if you guys can see, but that rice, it looks different because it is different. This is sushi rice. It's good and it's tasty. We'll get into why we use it in a second. All right, guys, now that the rice is in here, all 3 cups, we're gonna wash it. Wash your rice, people. This step is very important for the flavor of the rice. Without washing your rice, you will at the very least taste a more pronounced starch flavor that isn't very enjoyable. And at worst, you could have some unwanted debris in your rice, which is not very common, but it's better to be safe than sorry. If you guys don't know how to wash it, it's very simple. You just fill it up to about where the rice level is in there, and you just move it around with your hands. See all that water in there? It's about rice level. You can see some of the grains poking through. You just mix it. Mix it. All right, after we wash the rice, we're gonna wanna let it sit in new water for about 15 minutes to let the grains break down. And after that, we're gonna cook the rice with a 1 to 1.2 rice to water ratio. And usually the rice is cooked with a 1-to-1 ratio, like 1 cup rice to 1 cup water. But this new ratio will enhance the stickiness of the rice and increase the softness of it. Very important step. So we will see you guys after we let this sit for 15 minutes. All right, now that we've let the rice sit in the water for about 15 minutes, we're just gonna give it a tiny little mix. You don't gotta get your fingers dirty again. You're gonna put it right in your rice cooker. And then mine has a setting for white rice. Just click that, press start. And then we're gonna wait for about an hour 15, however long that takes. So yeah, we'll see you when that's done. While we wait, here's some facts. Onigiri originally came around when the use of chopsticks was not highly adapted. Rice was often rolled into small balls so they can be easily picked up. In the Heian period, from 794 to 1185, rice was made into small rectangular shapes known as tonjiki, so they could be piled onto plates and easily eaten. In that time, tonjiki was often consumed at outdoor picnic lunches. As we can see, onigiri has a vast history and that it took time to get to where it is in the modern age. And in that time, countless variants of onigiri have come into light, such as yaki onigiri, which means fried rice balls in English. Throughout history, onigiri has been a staple in Japanese cuisine, praised for its convenience and delicious flavors. Traditionally, it's filled with pickled ume, which is plum, salted salmon, or other salty or sour ingredients, serving as natural preservatives. Initially conceived as a mean to utilize leftover rice, onigiri evolved into a beloved meal in its own right, enjoyed from ancient times to present day. After about an hour, the rice should be done cooking. Turn off the keep warm option and keep the rice uncovered. We want the rice to start cooling down somewhat so it's easier to handle. While that is happening, while it's still cooling down, put a small pan on the stove and set it to medium heat. Add your diced pork and keep stirring while it starts to crisp lightly. And after about 2 to 3 minutes of cooking, your pork should have some color on it. Remove the pork from the heat source and put it in a separate plate or bowl. Now in that same hot pan, add some of the Korean barbecue sauce and sriracha to your tastes. Let that bubble for a second after mixing, and then re-add your pork. Mix briefly and let it simmer for maybe 30 seconds. We want to make sure the pork is absorbing the flavor of the sauces and that the sauce is thick enough to stick to it. After we take that off the stove and put it again in that same separate bowl, we want to get our onigiri mold press and surround the inside of it with clear wrap. This is actually a very important step that will stop the onigiri and rice from sticking to the inside of the mold. I made this mistake a couple times of not wrapping the mold first, and then it does not turn out very well. It just sticks all over the inside of it, so make sure you wrap it. After the inside is thoroughly covered, take your rice paddle and scoop some rice into the mold. Then hollow out the middle with a chopstick or fork and scoop some of the pork and place it inside that hollow portion you created. After this step, add some more rice to cover the other side of the onigiri. After doing this, wrap the excess parts of the clear wrap around the rice. Here's the fun part. Place the mold face down on a plate of some sort and press. This does not require a lot of finesse. Just make sure you do not over condense. Am I wrapping? Who knows? Try pressing slightly, letting go, and pressing again. This is what I do to have a good level of cohesion and fluffiness at the same time. This is where the finesse comes into play. After removing the ball from the mold, gently unwrap the onigiri and place a piece of seaweed on any side of the ball, with the middle of the seaweed meeting the edge. After that, you can wrap it up. Put it in saran wrap or start to eat. I add soy sauce because I love to have my onigiri with the side of it, but that's all according to taste. And after that, you're done. I personally usually have around 3 of these in a sitting, so I'm gonna keep making some. Thank you for your time and have a nice day.